Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're exploring a really important blog post by Mr. Len Kaplan, CEO of CDML. CDM is an MSP in Queens, New York. They handle network management, voice over IP and UCAS, cybersecurity, compliance, IaaS, cloud stuff, and Microsoft 365 and Azure solutions.
Quite a portfolio.
Yeah. And the post is called HIPAA Compliance Series, Part 1, Getting Your Own House in Order as a Healthcare Provider. So if you're a small business owner or maybe you manage IT for a growing healthcare organization, this deep dive is definitely for you. We're aiming to cut through the noise.
Absolutely. And it's so relevant right now. For healthcare providers, especially if you're running a smaller business, getting a grip on your personal responsibility for HIPAA compliance.
Yeah.
Well, it isn't just, good practice.
Right.
It's essential. It's about avoiding some pretty massive risks. Risks that could seriously impact your business, your patient's trust, your reputation. This article really drills down on that.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Getting your own house in order. The article seems to say healthcare providers are right there in the regulatory spotlight. And these penalties we hear about, they're a real threat no matter the size of your practice.
That's exactly it. That's the core message, and it's something providers, especially smaller ones, sometimes misunderstand. There's this idea that maybe you can hire an IT company or a billing service and poof, your HIPAA worries are handled by them.
Yeah, you delegate it.
Right. But Kaplan makes it crystal clear. You just can't outsource your HIPAA responsibility. Vendors or partners, sure, they play a role, but the ultimate duty, protecting that patient health information, the PHI, that lands squarely on you, the provider.
Okay.
And the stakes are high. We're not talking small change here. Potential for six-figure fines, public settlements that, get your name out there in a bad way, real damage to your credibility. For a small practice, that could be devastating.
Six-figure fines. Yeah, that would be crippling for a small business. Is that a common blind spot then? Thinking maybe this stuff only applies to the big hospitals?
It really is a very common myth. Smaller clinics, maybe individual doctors, pharmacies, they often think they kind of fly under the radar. But the reality, and the article highlights this with examples, is that size doesn't matter to the OCR, the Office for Civil Rights. They enforce HIPAA.
Okay.
And their actions show they go after organizations big and small. Kaplan mentions things like improper record disposal, literally throwing paper charts in the trash, or tossing old computers without wiping the drives.
Simple mistakes, but costly.
Exactly. Or even ransomware attacks that completely shut down facilities, blocking access to patient data. It makes it very clear this isn't some abstract rulebook thing. It's a real, everyday risk for anyone handling PHI.
So the buck stops with the provider, that's clear. Why are healthcare practices such prime targets, though? For regulators and I guess for cyber criminals, too. What's the OCR focusing on for, say, 2025?
That's a great question because it gets to the why. The OCR sees covered entities, doctors, clinics, hospitals, insurers, all of them as the front line. They have to be the first line of defense for patient data.
Makes sense.
And their focus areas for 2025 reflect where they see the biggest weaknesses and the most harm. First up, conducting and crucially documenting annual security risk analyses.
Annual, not just once.
Annually. This isn't just ticking a box. It's about really looking at all your systems, all your processes where electronic PHI lives, and figuring out where the vulnerabilities are. Your EHR, your billing software, cloud storage, everything. It's your security roadmap.
Okay. What else?
Then, really pushing for strong encryption. Data needs to be encrypted when it's stored, that's at rest, and when it's being sent in transit. Plus, enforcing multi-factor authentication, MFA, everywhere possible.
MFA, like the code to your phone.
Exactly, that extra layer beyond just a password. It makes it much harder for bad actors to get in, even if they steal credentials somewhere else, like in those credential stuffing attacks. It's like having a deadbolt in addition to your regular door lock.
Got it.
Third, patient access. Making sure patients can get copies of their records promptly, the right of access rule. Delays here are a big source of complaints and fines. And finally, just general security hygiene against modern threats, keeping software updated, patching vulnerabilities quickly, watching out for ransomware. They want to see proactive defense.
Looking at that list, it strikes me how failing in one area could easily lead to problems in another. Like if you don't do the risk analysis properly, you might not realize you need MFA on a certain system, right?
Precisely. It's all interconnected. A weak risk analysis means you're blind to vulnerabilities. Forgetting encryption on a laptop that gets stolen turns a simple loss into a major reportable breach. For a small healthcare business, one big fine stemming from any of these failures, well, could easily be fatal. It's about survival, really, protecting against financial ruin.
And yet, despite how clear these requirements seem, the article points out that lots of organizations struggle. What are some of those common mistakes, those recurring pitfalls Kaplan identifies?
Yeah, the patterns are, frankly, a bit depressing because they seem so avoidable.
Yeah.
Improper disposal of records is a big one. Not just paper, but digital too. Old hard drives, USB sticks, servers, just getting tossed without being properly wiped. Huge risk.
Still happens? Wow.
Oh, definitely. And then there's the patient access issue we just mentioned. Delays, charging too much, making it difficult. The OCR takes that patient right very seriously.
Okay.
Weak cyber defenses are another major theme. Running old software that doesn't get security updates anymore.
Yeah.
Not patching known security holes that hackers actively look for. Not having any real-time monitoring to see if someone is trying to break in. It leaves the door wide open.
Makes you vulnerable.
Hugely vulnerable, especially to ransomware. And finally, staff training, or rather the lack of it. Your team is on the front lines. If they don't know how to handle PHI properly, if they click on phishing emails, if they accidentally send sensitive info to the wrong person, human error, often just from lack of awareness, is behind so many breaches.
These sound like serious warnings. But the article gives real-world examples, right, to show the actual consequences.
It does, and that really drives the point home. These aren't just theoretical risks. Kaplan mentions Syracuse ASC, that's an ambulatory surgical center. They paid $250,000 in July 2025 after a ransomware attack. The investigation found they hadn't done a thorough security risk analysis.
Ah, connecting back to the OCR focus.
Exactly. It showed the underlying failure. Then there's Baker Health System, a larger organization, sure, but they settled for $800,000 over multiple security rule violations. Shows that size is no shield.
Right.
And importantly for our listeners, Kaplan also notes smaller clinics, pharmacies, even behavioral health providers getting fined anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000, often specifically for that patient right of access issue, not giving people their records quickly enough.
50 to 200,000. That's still a massive hit for a small practice.
Absolutely. It underscores that HIPAA compliance isn't optional. It's fundamental to operating. It's part of patient care, really.
So, okay, the message is clear. This is serious, it applies to everyone, and the consequences are real. What can providers do? What's the action plan here?
Right, let's get practical. The article lays out a clear checklist. These are the essential steps you, as a provider or practice manager, should be taking, like right now.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, perform and document a comprehensive security risk analysis, and do it annually. This is non-negotiable. It's your foundation. You need to know where your PHI is and where your risks are. Documenting it proves you did it.
Got it. Annual documented risk analysis.
Second, develop written policies. Clear rules covering administrative stuff, technical safeguards, physical security, how are passwords managed, how do you secure paper charts, what's the remote access policy, write it down, make sure staff know it.
Written policies, check.
Third, encrypt data at rest, in transit, both. And enforce multi-factor authentication everywhere you possibly can. Don't treat MFA as optional for systems handling PHI.
Encrypt in MFA. Makes sense.
Fourth, train everyone, all staff, temps, volunteers, front desk, clinicians, everybody who might encounter PHI. And make it ongoing training, not just once a year. Cover current threats like phishing.
Ongoing training for all. Crucial.
Fifth, have an incident response plan. Know exactly what to do if a breach does happen. Who do you call? What are the steps? And test that plan. Run tabletop exercises so people actually practice their roles. Don't let the plan just sit on a shelf gathering dust.
Test the plan. Good one.
And finally, monitor your systems. Watch for suspicious activity, unauthorized login attempts. Keep good audit logs records of who accessed what when. This helps detect breaches early and is vital for investigations.
Monitor and log. Okay, that's a solid list. For a small business owner listening, those steps are your roadmap, right? To protect patients and the business itself.
That's exactly it. It's about being proactive, building that strong foundation.
So it really hammers home the point. HIPAA compliance starts with you, the provider. You're the guardian of patient trust, and regulators expect you to take that seriously.
Precisely. And Kaplan does mention the next part of his series will look outwards, at managing vendors and business associates. That's the next piece of the puzzle. He also notes that his company, CDML, helps practices with these exact things: risk assessments, securing Microsoft 365, HIPAA-ready backups, encryption, training. Getting expert help can make a big difference.
Right. Sometimes you need that outside expertise. So here's a final thought to leave you with. Don't wait until your practice name is in a headline about a breach or a fine. Take these proactive steps now. Build that patient trust. Secure your operations. If you found this deep dive helpful, please do click that thumbs up button. Till next time.